So I was reading the news, and a story I found made me think of an old video from far more popular than me YouTuber Shoeonhead. And the topic of her video was, are women okay? And firstly, 3.2 million views she got on that video, well done lady. And she answered the question of, are women okay? Concluding at the beginning of her video that no, they're not. And I suppose this is a bit of a response to Mrs. Onhead, because from the evidence she posted and what I've found myself recently, I have to agree and disagree. She has a point, a lot of women are clearly not okay, but I hope it isn't all of you. But before I get onto her video, what was the story that made me think of it? Well, it was this. This was the story of a US woman and her boyfriend had supposedly received an email telling him that he'd inherited $30 million. Woohoo, celebrations all round. But this seems to have been the trigger for this man's loving partner to fill his drink with antifreeze, which unsurprisingly ended his life, presumably with the intention of her inheriting the $30 million as she was his common law wife, with just a slight problem in her master plan that they lived in North Dakota, which it seems doesn't recognise common law wives, so she was never in a position to inherit the money anyway. And the other small problem was that it was supposedly a scam email that the man received, and there was never any money in the first place, so she was never in a position to receive this money that in reality also didn't exist. But what she did get was 25 years in prison. And I'd say that had won the internet in terms of stupid until I stumbled upon a related story of a wife in Brazil that had allegedly attempted to poison her husband by smearing poison on an intimate part of her body and then trying to get him to kiss it. Which it seems didn't happen because when he got down there among the underbrush and thought about getting to work, he was immediately worried that her hoo-ha smelled of poison. So he took her to the hospital where she got caught for the attempted poisoning, and I'm not sure if that's lucky for her or not, because he may have also saved her life. You see, it turns out that a woman can poison herself by smearing poison all over her hoo-ha. It turns out a lot can get absorbed through skin. Who knew? And lady, I can't help but think you've not done your fellow women any favours with that trick, because a lot of women are saying already that their man doesn't do that enough for them, or some women say in fact their man never does that for them. And well, if many guys are hesitant, what do you think the odds are for a guy doing that if he thinks she may just be trying to feed him a poisoned concha? So first, I'm going to look at a selection of the women that Sean had presented in her video, and then give a man perspective to the whole thing. Maybe try to explain man thinking as best I can. By the way, don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. It helps me out and lets me know what sort of thing you want to see. At the end of the video, I want to get into the story of Aqua Tana and the deadly poisoning of at least 600 men in Italy around the year 1630, why that's hit the news cycle again, and how many women's attitudes towards men at this point have become both figuratively and very literally toxic, because when I looked at the UK paper The Guardian's coverage of the poison hoo-ha story, well, they found a way of focusing on who the real victim is in the story. This story of a woman trying to poison her husband, which to The Guardian appears to, of course, be the women. But think about it, maybe The Guardian have a point. The poison may make men not want to do that thing that women like a lot. And to paraphrase Norm MacDonald, if loads of men get poisoned, just imagine the potential backlash against peaceful women. But I mean, seriously, The Guardian, it's like nobody at their paper took a second to think, I wonder if being poisoned could have a bad effect on men. Their bias is just so ingrained, they don't even seem to notice they're doing it. The New York Post article also contains a quote from now shut down media outlet Jezebel that states this, where they advise against women trying this because the woman is likely to hurt herself. Note that their objection isn't, don't do this because you'll be murdering a man. The male victim isn't who they're worried about. They have more sympathy and empathy for the wannabe female poisoner. Oh my, what a loss to journalism and the world it was when Jezebel finally shut down. Shoeonhead's video is asking why so many women feel a compulsion to post their failures on the internet, and she found some doozies.
Guys, my friend got banned from Tinder because she'd show up to dates without makeup and the dudes kept reporting her as a catfish. Oof.
Ouch, that's not good. It's probably better to be honest. It's a lot less work if you find someone who naturally likes what you are. If you have to pretend to be someone else the whole time to get someone, that will get exhausting very fast.
I wanted this man to be vulnerable with me for so long. He finally called me yesterday and opened up, but the second he started crying, I lost all interest in him quickly. Women be like, men need to show their emotions till a man shows their emotions.
I maybe have a bit more sympathy for this lady, because she may sound unreasonable at first, but people can give you what you said you wanted, just in a way that makes you think, no, not like that. Maybe it's like meeting a pretty woman and asking her who her first crush was, and she tells you her uncle, or the family dog. A lot of women, whatever they say, are attracted to the strong, silent type of man, and this was maybe a bit of self-sabotage from this lady, but I'm not sure why she added the smiley face, like she's happy about it. It's like she's enjoying shaming the guy, but I'm not going to pretend that some women don't do this, or that I understand why some women do this.
I had to come all the way here on my day off just because you haven't texted me.
Okay, but you told me to not contact you anymore.
That doesn't mean don't contact me. Are you dumb? Like,
You broke up with me.
that was me then. That doesn't mean you don't speak to me for 2 weeks to even care about my life. I could be dead for all you know.
You blocked me. You told me to not contact you. I sent you
I can't
text
do
after text after text after text, and then you sent me a big whole paragraph, yeah, explaining, saying, oh, the feelings aren't the same anymore.
Just because I blocked you doesn't mean you're actually blocked. What's wrong with you?
But you told me to leave you alone. What do you want me to do?
Unblock me!
But you blocked me.
Because this one, I have genuinely no idea. Why do some women say the opposite of what they want?
What's the hardest thing you ever had to say? It's me or the PlayStation. He took the PlayStation over his marriage and 10-year relationship. Oh my god.
Now, this guy, sorry, but he was probably just fed up with you. And that was the straw that broke the proverbial camel's back. It probably wasn't just the ultimatum.
If a man leaves you after you've cheated, he clearly wasn't a real man. Real men would work through it and help you become a better woman. They accept you with all your flaws.
No. Just no. She cheated on the guy and somehow still tries to make the breakup his fault. No.
I told my husband not to buy me a Christmas present. I'm fuming that he actually isn't. Do not, I repeat, do not listen to women when they say this.
I don't know what to do with this one. I do exactly what this guy did. You maybe have to be a woman to understand this one. Ladies, I don't know how to break it to you. If you tell a guy not to buy you a present, he probably won't. If you tell a guy not to contact you, he probably won't. Men have been told ad nauseum to leave women alone when they say no. Ergo, if you're interested in the man, don't say no. But with this one, I'm actually going to side with the woman in the story, because Shu is being misleading on this story if you read it. This is a married couple with kids, and they agreed not to buy presents for each other in order to save money. Then the guy went out and bought himself an expensive Christmas present. So did Shu do that because she was trying to pander to a male audience? Well, she doesn't strike me as the sort of person who'd do that. Maybe she just didn't read the story, which isn't great either, but I don't want to be harsh because she's fun. Now onto the subject of Aqua Tana, because this hit the headlines late last year after the US elections, and it was a social media trend of women on TikTok gleefully and ghoulishly talking about poisoning men who the women think didn't vote the right way.
Aqua Tana. Am I right? Aqua Tana. If you know, you know.
Complete with comment sections like this. There were plenty of women who were asking for the recipe for Aqua Tana and saying things like, before divorce, there was Aqua Tana, and that loops right back around to the story from earlier. One woman, however, among them was against the idea of poisoning men, saying, you do know these videos can be used against you, right? It's giving off premeditated vibes. The internet is forever. Also, the 1600s were a lot different than 2024 advancements in detecting poison. So let me get this straight. This one dissenting woman, her chief objection to men being poisoned was the potential for the woman doing the poisoning to get caught. That's the most moderate voice the New York Post could find. It got worse when I read this story of a female writer talking about the Italian poisoners like they were heroes fighting against abuse by their husbands and the patriarchy. It just came packaged with the assumption that all the men in the story were wrong and all of the women are all in the right. No evidence needed, like it was impossible that the women were just greedy or having an affair and that could have led them to poisoning their husbands. It's like some women are pathologically incapable of empathising with men or holding other women to account. And I couldn't believe that so many women thought like this, so I talked to some women that I know in my own life and told them about what I'd found. And out of the 3 women I talked to, one said, "Well, the world's crazy." Like immediately, women poisoning men is the world's fault, or everyone's fault. So she immediately tried to diminish women's role in women poisoning men. A second replied, "But what about the things that men do?" So she was unwilling to hold women accountable at all. And this is not me defending the bad things that men do. The third female friend I talked to laughed and then said she admired the ingenuity and problem solving of the poisoners. Because if the women couldn't get rid of the men by force, they'd found a way using their mind. It's girl power. So no, Shu appears to be at least partly right. A lot of women are clearly very far from being okay.
If you only knew the power of one, the power of two, the power of many.